Hey, I'm Aja A, and welcome to Sunshine Haze. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have listed down in the description box, and if you like the video, please give me a little thumbs up. If you have any questions after the video is over, feel free to drop them down below. I try to respond to everyone. And if you all know people interested in astrology, numerology, tarot, or whatever I'm talking about on this channel, go on and send them this link. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And of course, thanks for tuning in and rocking with me. May this info help y'all live your best lives. Peace. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, SunshinehazeCo. I am Aja A. I have a different type of tarot reading for you today. It's not your normal moon monthlies. This is one of the pick a card spreads, and it is for Valentine's Day. So I have couples and singles in this video. Everything is time stamped, so just scroll down to the description box and it'll tell you where either the single or the couple reading starts. This is for the love holiday. And I didn't want to just keep it specifically for Valentine's Day, but so starting Valentine's Day and kind of just rounding out the rest of the month, this is really just a quick love reading, but really focusing on energy specific to your love holiday celebrations or whatever, if you're having them. So I've got 3 sets here. I'm going to be looking at the overall energy for Valentine's Day for you, and then how you can bring the love in either for yourself or for your partnership. I'm going to start with the singles here, and then later on in the video we'll have the couples. So 3 different piles here. You can just intuitively pick one, whatever you're drawn to. You can also pick by the stones. First pile I've got, and I always butcher how to pronounce this. I believe it's Mangano Calcite or Mangano Calcite, IDK. Let me get a little bit closer. You can't really see it here because of the light. This is actually one of my favorite stones. It is a heart chakra stone. All the stones in this one are heart chakra stones. And then we've got the very popular, very common rose quartz here. If you can't tell, I'm not really into rose quartz, but that doesn't mean that the messages for this pile aren't popping. And then we've got Rhodonite, another heart chakra stone. This one is really pretty. I actually really like this stone here. So you can pick by the stones, you can pick by the piles, whatever you're pulled towards. Go on and pick your pile, and let's just get started. This first portion of this video is for the people that are not in relationships, so single people like myself. We're gonna start with us. So the first pile we've got here, you've got here and now for the overall energy, and then you've got the 8 of Cups for how to bring the love in for yourself on Valentine's Day, or for the rest of February, you know, but really specific to Valentine's Day. So what's interesting is you've got here and now. So what this does tell me is that for those of you that picked this card, especially with Valentine's Day popping up right now, you've been in a very nostalgic, reminiscent mood, and some of you might be in a place to where you're like, damn, I wish I was still in that relationship, or damn, I wish I still talked to that person, dang, I wish I was still dating so-and-so. But with this card popping up here, it does tell me is that you need to lend your energy to being in the here and now. Understand that you're not in those situations anymore because, you know, you've gotten what you needed to get from them. You have developed whatever, you know, growth you needed to develop from those situations. You've also picked up whatever energies you needed to pick up from those situations, and now you're here now and today, and you're single, and that's okay, because you need to understand the things that have transpired and the energies that you've worked with, or, you know, your own progression before you can find yourself into something else that would even be remotely successful. You know what I'm saying? This card also carries this energy of 32, which breaks down to 5, which is the number associated with change and transformation. So Valentine's Day for you this year, for the people that picked this pile, what's really coming in is, as you're having all these reminiscent thoughts, as you're, you know, sitting here being nostalgic, thinking about all these things all these people that you used to deal with, not all, but like the people that you used to deal with, or the relationships that you used to be in, the good things and the good times from it, you're going to also be in a headspace to where you're like, yeah, I really liked this about this relationship. I really liked this about this situationship. I really liked this about this person that I was, you know, just briefly talking to for a second. I liked how so-and-so did this. I liked how so-and-so did this. And I didn't like X, Y, and Z about these situations, or about these people, or about these, relationships. So for you, especially with Valentine's Day coming, I believe it's the second day into the Mercury retrograde. For you, this is a very reflective and corrective time. So it may not be all that jumping as far as romance is concerned, but what's really popping is that you are going to be coming into a space to where you're starting to understand what you need and what you want in this life in regards to love. And when you start to think about those things, especially because you guys, with this Valentine's Day, this love holiday falling at the beginning of the Mercury retrograde, so when it stations direct, I wouldn't be surprised to see, some prospects start to pop up for you. I wouldn't be surprised to see, you go out on a couple of dates. And it's because during this time, you're going to be thinking about, okay, what is it that I want? And therefore, you're going to be working on that energy and manifesting that type of energy or that type of person to come to you. Therefore, when Mercury stations direct, you're in a space to where you can act those energies that you've been intending and manifesting actually do come in for yourself, okay? Your next card is the Eight of Cups, and this is, I don't want to say funny, but like it's kind of ironic coming up in the space of how to bring love in for yourself in regards to Valentine's Day and the rest of February and just in general right now. The Eight of Cups is a card that carries a message of moving on from something. So as I was saying earlier, you guys are a little nostalgic. You're a little into this space to where you're really reminiscing about things that have transpired in your past, and you're like, I wish I could be in a position like that again. I wish I could be in a relationship again. I wish I could have somebody. I wish I wasn't lonely. I think it's important to remember that when you feel that way, you have the ability to shift or change your own reality. This Eight of Cups card here is coming up to say, okay, and cups is the water element, which is associated with your emotions, with your feelings, and also with love. So this card is coming up here to say, okay, you've been emotionally invested in, you still got these energetic attachments, these cords to these past situations, but now is the time to understand that you've poured all that you can into the past. You poured all that you can into the relationships that you were in and the situations that have transpired. At this point, you need to go and seek out something else. These cups no longer fulfill you, so you need to move on from what was and move into the here and now and figure out what it is that you really, truly, and honestly need. So I would take this Valentine's Day for y'all that picked this stone or this pile and give myself a little give yourself, I'm gonna be at work. Ain't no self-love happening on Valentine's Day for me. Give yourself a little bit of self-love. If you maybe treat yourself to the spa, or treat yourself to dinner, or treat yourself to a nice bottle of wine or something of the sort. But just understand that whatever you're holding on to, for those of y'all that picked this pile, it is time for you to let it go, move into the present, and therefore work with your present and current energies. Okay. Next card is, or the next pile is for the singles, and we've got rose quartz here. Let's move that light again. Now, y'all should know what rose quartz looks like. This is tumbled rose quartz. So if you are into rose quartz, you are going to be looking at the second pile. All right, guys, what do we got here? You've got loyal heart and the Four of Swords. And this is, again, for the singles, the single people that pick the second stone. Say that 5 times fast. So the overall energy for you during Valentine's Day is loyal heart. So for those of you that picked this pile, this card, this stone, I get the sense that you are, unlike the set that I just read, you're already in a space to where you're like, yeah, I got to give myself some love. Yeah, I need to, excuse me, yeah, I'm hungry, so I'm starting to burp. Excuse me, y'all. In the space where you're like, yeah, I need to give myself some love. Yeah, I need to work on this for myself and work on this and work on, improving here and work on improving there. And I need to make sure that I'm giving myself this type of energy, and I need to make sure that I'm doing this in X, Y, and Z for me, right? Valentine's Day this year for you is a me holiday. And I know you guys are looking at the card and you're like, well, I see 2 little owls, and so they must be loyal to each other. No, that's not necessarily the message that I'm picking up here. This loyal heart energy literally is what it says. The energy for you, the overall energy for you for this love holiday is being loyal to your own heart and giving yourself what it is that you need. And those are things that can be very simple, like treating yourself. And those are things that can go and stretch into a deeper level, like, meditating, going out into nature. Well, it's cold, so I don't know. If you live somewhere where it's not cold, go out into nature maybe. but really devoting time and energy to you so that you feel good, so that you feel good about yourself, feel good about your progression, and feel good about what you've got going on in the physical around you, okay? With this being the overall energy and it also resonating with the number 35 breaking down into 8, I do pick up on this sense of cycles. So it's funny because it's like these cards are the start, this is the progression of the first set. So it's like you, like I said earlier, you've already come to this point to where you're like, I know I need certain things in my life when it comes to love. I know I need a certain type of partner. I know I need a certain type of energy. I know I need a certain type of exchange. I need a certain type of commitment, etc., and so on and so forth, right? So there are cycles for you. You are, with this Valentine's Day, as far as love is concerned, coming into a space to where you are getting ready to shift, you know, what you're used to in love right now. So if you've been single for a while, this Valentine's Day is going to kick in the energies of, you know, you actually being completely okay with the work that you're doing for yourself and the energy that you're putting out and saying, okay, I do love myself. I have given myself this energy. I have done the self-care routines, you know. So now I can put out what I want back. I can put out the type of energy that I wish to receive back in a partner. So I wouldn't be surprised that after Valentine's Day, especially after the Mercury retrograde, after Mercury stations direct, because Valentine's Day comes in on the second day of the Mercury retrograde, I believe. But this, with this numerical energy popping up here, this does say, you know, right now you're reflecting and correcting on you're kind of tweaking things and kind of polishing things up, because once Mercury stations direct going on further into the year, you guys, a lot of you, and again, remember this is general, but a lot of you are going to be into a space to where you're actually calling in the people that, you know, you have worked so hard on yourself for in order to attract, if that makes sense. You know, when we think about these relationships and you know, when we sit here and like, we're human and we got to be very honest, you know, a lot of us do things because we want to attract a certain type of partner. So once you work on yourself, and as you're working on yourself, because you've already started to do this, as you're working on yourself and as you're progressing and developing, you're putting yourself into a position to put out the type of energy that you wish to receive back. And I always say you want to be the type of partner that you want, because like I keep saying, you get back what you put out. So for you guys, this Valentine's Day is really just like polishing up, you know, the edges, you know, smoothing down the edges, you know, bringing all things together and really, you know, kind of getting a glimpse of this whole when it comes to your I think that's like an adult store. If I am correct, I think we have a romantics out here, and I think it's like an adult movie store. It's like next to a gas station, or it used to be. I don't know. Never been in it though, so I'm not sure. I could have just made that up. But what was I saying? When it comes to romance, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to relationships for you, you'll be in this position to where you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to be putting out, so this is what I'm going to be getting back. All right. Now, how you guys can bring in the love for yourself during this Valentine's Day. You've got the Four of Swords, which is the swords is the air element, so this resonates with intellectual energy, perceptive energy, looking at perspective. Hella tongue-tied. Pisces Mercury retrograde ain't shit. Like, I literally cannot talk sometimes. I promise, like, I really had something intelligible to say. You got the Four of Swords here, which is associated with the air element, which is all about the mind, the mental perspective, all those things. As I was talking about earlier, you guys kind of already being in this space where you know you have to give yourself love and you know what you want to work on for yourself. The Four of Swords is a card of, I consider this the Find Your Zen card. So how you can bring the love in for yourself during this Valentine's Day, as I was talking about polishing things up, is to actually sit and take a little bit of time and be like, okay, and think to yourself and say, okay, am I just going through the motions? Am I doing what's expected of me when it comes to love? Am I getting cute? Am I, you know, keeping my hygiene together? Am I being presentable? Am I being nice to people? Am I being open to conversation? You know, are you just going through the motions because that's what people think you're supposed to do when it comes to looking for love or when it comes to, you know, being a single person? Or are you doing these things because you've sat and thought about how they bring in some sort of positive reaction, how they are a benefit to you? So I think Valentine's Day for you is going to be a quiet holiday, and it really, I think you should take some time to maybe journal this Valentine's Day, or, at some point during February, in regards to just your feelings about love. This could also point to taking a little bit of time to figure out exactly where you need to work within your heart chakra. Does it need opening? Does it need balancing? Does it need cleansing? Does it need strengthening? Things of that sort. This is just to give a little bit of thought to love in your life right now. And love in your life right now, because you are single, is you. So with this loyal heart energy and this Four of Swords, you're really giving yourself some big, self-love and self-care type of energy for this Valentine's Day, which I don't see anything wrong with, right? All right, y'all. So for my singles, this is your last card, and this is the last stone. This is Rhodonite. I believe that's Rhodonite. I don't think it's rhodochrosite, because I don't want to be telling y'all the wrong stone. That is Rhodonite. Okay. So for my singles, the last card, the last pile, you've got To the Sea, and you've got the Two of Wands. So the energy that I got when I first flipped these around, I really picked up on. For those of you that felt pulled to this pile, I pick up on this energy of some of you being single for a very long time, and being in a space to where you were so comfortable with being single, and also being in a space to where you are single because of the shit that you went through, to where you're kind of just like, I'm okay if I don't have to deal with that. Therefore, to prevent even the possibility of that, I'm just going to stay single and keep to myself, right? You got To the Sea here. So what this does tell me is, for my singles, is that this Valentine's Day, you might be asked out on a date. You might ask somebody else out on a date. You might, and maybe not even Valentine's Day, at some point during February, or coming up soon, you might find yourself being given the opportunity to go out and experience what could be love. And I really pick up on this really shielded, guarded heart chakra energy, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like for those of you that came to this pile, you're just not really into, like, the best way I can say it is, like, you're not really into having your heart broken. And what I think is important for you guys to understand is that you've experienced these things, you've gone through these things, you've dealt with these situations, and everything that has transpired was to teach you what it is that you need and what it is that you desire in this life in regards to love, okay? The To the Sea card tells me you have to take a little bit of a leap of faith, but not so much in a crazy way. This is literally, she's floating in a boat and she's on the water. So it's not like you're just hopping out, like, allow life to lead you into where you need to be, and allow your heart to lead you there too. Water is associated with, emotions and love and feelings. So for those of you guys that have been kind of to yourselves for the past however long, right now is a time for you to kind of break out of that. It is time for you to start to let your guard down. Understand that there is love out there, and understand that a lot of these situations, especially, and I'm not even going to put age on it, like, everything is not forever, and then some things are. So a lot of these situations are supposed to be learning experiences. A lot of these things aren't supposed to be your forever, your one true love, the end all be all. So just understand that you've got to go through the motions to actually find yourself in a place to where you are, or can call in a partner that is truly everything that you want and you need. But understand that we oftentimes don't get to that before we go through a couple of bad apples. And I feel like the bad apples have deterred you from even considering love, or giving it a chance, or giving it a real chance. So at this time, she's kind of guarded, but it's like, yeah, she's guarded, but it's time for you to start making moves. It's time for you to be open. It's time for you to open your heart chakra. And this is not to say to just be out there tossing it, not to say to just go on a date with anybody, but, you don't have to say no to everything, and you don't have to stay in your house all the time. So, and again, this is general. If this didn't resonate with you, pick another stone, but I did really pick up on that energy when I pulled this card. To the Sea is literally just going out to the sea and letting the sea take you to wherever you need to be. And that's what you need to do in regards to love during this Valentine's Day. This is the overall energy. So, if you got somebody trying to take you out on a date, let them take you out on a date. Shit. What's the worst that could happen? It could turn out trash and you go home and you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have went out with him or her. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's life. This card next card is in the position of how you can bring the love in this Valentine's Day, and you've got the Two of Wands, which is very interesting because as I'm sitting here saying like, oh, you're a little guarded, you need to, go out, you're a little afraid to take the leap. You got the Two of Wands here, which tells me that some of you singles, there's a couple prospects for you, or there's somebody that you may have your sights set on, but I do pick up on this message that you haven't said anything, or like there's been no progress there, like there hasn't been an opportunity to see if you guys actually mesh, or see if you really click. The Two of Wands is picking a direction and then tapping into that fire and blazing the path, right? So how you can bring the love in during this Valentine's Day for you singles that pick this pile is, if there's actually somebody that's on your radar, hit them up. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, you want to go to a movie, you want to grab some dinner. And it doesn't even have to be Valentine's Day. Like, you don't have to do the cliche, like, let's go out on a date. Like, it doesn't have to be that. But pick a person, or pick that, or, reach out to that person and see where it takes you. On the other hand, this Two of Wands does also carry this energy, as I was saying, of direction and then following through on your direction. So if you're a little weary about going out there and allowing love to come into you, okay, then you need to shift your focus into what type of love do you want to come in for you. Because listen, if you are single and you are watching this video, I can almost guarantee you are in a space where you're like, is she gonna tell me I'm gonna have a boo on Valentine's Day or what? So shift your focus, and direct your energy into, and I was saying this with the other cards too, be the type of partner that you want to attract. So shift your habits, shift the way your routines, and start to mold yourself into the type of energy that you would want to interact with. And when you do that, you naturally become, like, you naturally harness it, so you naturally put it out, and that is what naturally becomes, or what is naturally called to you. I don't know why I wanted to say become so bad. So this Two of Swords, how you can bring the love in for Valentine's Day, or for love in general for you during this time, whenever you're watching this video, is by picking and manifesting the type of love that you want. Guys, our thoughts and our words are very powerful. So if you're sitting up here and you're like, look, I don't want to do none of that shit because all I've dealt with is fuck boys or fuck girls, and this is just, I'm just over it, and that's all I seem to get. Well, guess what? Everybody that comes to you is going to carry that type of energy. Now, if you're in a space where you're like, yeah, I've dealt with this type of shit in the past, but I'm deserving of this. I'm deserving of this. I want this and I want that. Well, guess what you're going to be getting? What you said you're deserving of and what it is that you said that you want. Okay? So just keep that in mind for this Valentine's Day, my singles. Those are your spreads, okay? I hope that provided y'all with some insight. At this time, we are going to go on and look at I always have a hard time, like, saying how, like, referring to the people in relationships. We're going to look at the couples, people who are in relationships. Your cards are coming up in just a second. For my people in relationships, you have the same choices. You can pick from the Mangano, I don't know. You can pick from this calcite. With it being one of my favorite stones, I should probably learn how to say it. You can also pick from rose quartz. The second pile is rose quartz. And I've got rhodonite here. Excuse me. Whew. Y'all, I'm winded. I just ran up the stairs. I don't know why I even ran up the stairs. So yeah, again, just going to be looking at the overall energy for you for Valentine's Day, for those of you in relationships, and then also how you can bring the love in. And before I get started, this is a general reading, so if you're not feeling what I'm saying in one pile, maybe a different pile is for you, or maybe this reading is just not for you. I also keep it very, very real in my readings. I keep it 100%. I do not believe in lying to sugarcoat the messages, so whatever messages the cards have for you, that's what that's what I'm going to kick to you, okay? So for the people that are picking the first pile in relationships, you've got, oh, interesting. So you've got orphaned here, and you've also got the Hermit reversed, and I do not, the way that I shuffle, I do not always get a lot of reversals. So when I pull reversals, they're truly reversals, because it's like, well, how did that even get turned like that? So Let's see what this is about. The overall energy for you. So for those of you in relationships, for those of you that pick this pile, you might be in a position, some of you might be in a position to where you're feeling kind of just like a disconnect as far as you and your partner go. And some of you might be in a position to where you're kind of feeling left behind by your partner, or you're feeling like, you know, something that once was is no longer. Now, this is in the overall energy position, so I'm going to keep it very real with y'all and say that your Valentine's Day might not be all that romantic. Your Valentine's Day might actually be geared more towards working certain issues out in your partnership, if that makes sense. With this orphan card carrying the 5 energy, that's the energy of change and transformation and adapting into new situations and bringing on new and different energies. So my message for you here for Valentine's Day, especially for those of you that this pile is already resonating with, I think it's very important for you to take some time to take a step back and look at, you know, just the status of your relationship, so to speak, and not in regards to you know, are you official? How long have you been together? I mean, like, how are you feeling? How is your relationship doing? Is it staying afloat? Does it need to stay afloat? Is it, you know, sinking? What's going on there? Now with this aspect of change coming in with this card as well, this overall energy, I think that this card kind of brings in a little bit of a message. Like, you know how they say you got to hit rock bottom before you know, you get to, I don't know the rest of the saying, but it's talking about, you know, going through something negative to get through something positive. For you guys that pick this pile here, you might be in a space with your partner to where you might have to have some heated arguments, where you might have to have some tough and heavy conversations in order to release and work through whatever energies need to be released and worked through in order for you to find yourselves back into a positive space. Now, another message with this orphan card here does say, you know, this could literally just be walking away from bad habits in your relationship, because I am reading for people in partnerships. We're talking about orphan energy, being left behind, leaving something behind. There could be some habits, or there could be some instances, or there could be some things, some energies that are weighing heavy on you and your partner. This card coming up here, especially if you're in the energy of having tough conversations and heavy conversations, these things are transpiring because you're having to walk away from a certain way of doing things in order for your relationship to thrive. Okay, so Valentine's Day might not be all that poppin', but it's going to be very important for you guys in relationships. Okay, now the next card that you guys have coming up is in the position of, you know, how you can bring the love in, and this is an interesting one too. You've got the Hermit reversed, and normally the Hermit card is all about, you know, taking a step back and being by yourself and observing and really figuring things out. But with this card being in the reverse, especially being paired with this orphan card, I do pick up on this. Sorry, my arm is itching. It's starting to snow. It gets so dry, and like my skin gets mad dry. I just put on lotion, but I'm probably ashy again. I am. That's a shame. Damn. Yeah, no, I'm ashy. With that Hermit card being reversed, being paired with, excuse me, the orphan, it's like you need to actually take some time to step outside of yourself. So especially if what I was saying about, you know, some changes needing to be made in your relationship or some conversations needing to be had, I think it's important for you guys to come outside of your own perspective, see your partner for who they truly are, and try to understand the way that they're seeing things and the way that they're processing things. Because when you have a better understanding of what the other person in the situation is dealing with or going through or thinking about the same situation, that's how you can start to get to solutions. But when you've got two people or multiple people who just have their like tunnel vision on one outcome, that's when you start to have problems. So the Hermit card being reversed on how you can bring the love in is to, you know, be a little less selfish in your partnership and, you know, come to the forefront and come to a common ground with your partner. Have those conversations. Open yourself up, open your heart up, open your mind up to these conversations and these energetic shifts, because that is what's needed for you. This Valentine's Day, although it may not be very romantic and it might be a little heavy, doesn't mean that it has to be negative. All of this happening around this time is actually work being done so you can come into a more positive space when it starts getting warm and shit. Say, listen. But yeah, so for you guys, there's just work that needs to be done within your relationship, and it's going to take some conversations, and then it's going to take you stepping outside of yourself, and you may even have to initiate them. Okay, y'all, I'm just like, I don't know what kind of life I'm living, but I need chapstick, I need some water, I put on the lotion. I'm not ashy no more. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to grab some water. I was gonna try to talk through the next two positions with that, but that was gonna be real ugly for y'all and for me. All right, let's get into the next position. So for my couple people, you've got the rose quartz pile here. You guys have never ending story and the Fool. And don't be alarmed by this never ending story. I actually don't get like bad energy here. What I get is more of a, this is your overall energy, right? So I get the sense that you or your partner, in regards to your relationship, your partnership, in regards to y'all's routines, one of y'all or both of y'all might just be feeling kind of like, this is kind of dull. Like, this is not as fun as when we first started. We keep doing the same old shit. It's the same position in the bedroom. It's the same, we go to the same restaurant every week. We do date night every week. It's nothing spontaneous. I pick up on this energy of just longing for something different, longing for something more, but not necessarily with a different person. Now, I'm going to split that in two. Some of you might be just longing for a reignition, a spark within your relationship. Some of you might be in a position to where you're kind of like, yeah, I think I've grown up and grown out of this, and it's time for something completely different, meaning a different person too. So whether you're on either side of that spectrum, what the energy is here, your overall energy, is that you are no longer content with what it is that you're in. And some of you may be content with your person, you're just not content with the way the relationship is going or the way, like, your connection is. Now, and then some of you might just be completely over your relationship. And I don't pick up on like this bad sense of I'm over it because this person is a horrible partner and they're cheating and blah, 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 blah. No, like your energy, anytime our energy shifts, anytime our energy realigns with whatever we're supposed to be coming into, it means that you fall out of alignment with something different. Or something else within your life shifts. And sometimes that pulls you completely away from it. And sometimes it causes you to readjust the things within that situation so that they can also be in alignment with what you are now in alignment with. So your overall energy, you're going to be looking at, and this could just be Valentine's Day. This could also be like the next couple of weeks throughout the end of February. This is in general for right now is in regards to love. But you're just in a position to where you're kind of just like, yeah, this is not it. I am tired of doing the same old shit. I also, for those of you, I did say I don't really get like this negative sense, but I do get a little bit of, some of you might be in relationships to where you're going through these cycles, and these are not healthy cycles. These are toxic cycles, and you're coming into a space to where you're starting to actually realize that. And everybody goes through it for the most part. Like, there are rare cases in which people have not experienced some sort of toxicity in their relationships, but for some of you, you might be in a position to where you're like, yeah, this is not healthy for me. This is not okay. And now I actually see that for myself. And now it's time for me to, move forward. Working for me, I'm no longer content with what I'm in. Now, this card carries the energy of the number 37, which breaks down to 10, which breaks down to 1, amplified by 0, which is the number of new beginnings, new cycles, and independence. So for those of you that are cool with your partner, you just want a little bit of a spark, this card is coming in with okay, well, you have to ignite this new passion. You have to present this idea of let's do something different. Let's go somewhere different. Let's try something different. And for those of you that are like, this is just not it for me anymore, this 1 energy is coming in with, okay, well, here's the independence that you need in order to take that first step to go on and move forward, because you realize you don't want to go through this cycle again. Okay? Now, supporting all of what I just said is how you can bring the love in this Valentine's Day, and you've got the Fool. This is the card of taking the leap of faith, of trying something different, of just going balls to the wall to see what's out there because you have a pretty good idea, right? Now, for those of you in your relationships and you want to stay in your relationships, you just want, a little bit more of a honeymoon phase, like I was just saying, it is going to be up to you to reignite that fire. You are going to have to come in like, hey, babe, we got to listen, going to dinner at 7 o'clock every Thursday is not my idea of fun anymore. Like, it's getting real routine. Let's do something different. You know, when you get off one day, just tell me to get dressed and let's go somewhere. Don't tell me what we're doing, let's just go. Or, you know, you might be like, hey, let's watch some different type of movie. Let's do, like, it's going to be up to you it's going to be up to you to shift the stagnancy that is present in your relationship right now. And with this being Valentine's Day, this is a perfect time to try something different. I mean, you still got a couple of days, so, you know, you can, I don't know, go to laser tag or go bowling or something that you don't normally do. If you always go to dinner and a movie, go to Top Golf. If you always do something extreme, how about you have a night in and have like an inside picnic? You know, change it up, switch it up, make it start to work for you, because that's what you want, right? Now, for those of you that are like, I am just completely over this shit, this Fool card is your confirmation that it's okay to take that leap of faith right now. And I know it sounds so trash to end something around Valentine's Day, but you don't ever want to stay in something for the looks of it. So who cares if people are like, oh, that's horrible, they broke up with each other on Valentine's Day, or they broke up with each other like right after Valentine's Day, whatever, you know, whatever. This card is coming up as confirmation that it is time for you to take that leap of faith and walk away from whatever it is that you were currently in, because this never-ending story, this cycle that I was mentioning for you earlier, is just really no longer serving you. That's not what you're meant to be doing, not what you're meant to be dealing with. And in all honesty, you're probably in some karmic shit that you've already gained the energies that you needed to gain and learn the lessons that you needed to learn, and it's time for you to move forward before you start ending up back in these unhealthy and toxic cycles that I was mentioning. And again, this is a general reading, but I did read for like a couple of subsets of y'all, so I hope that these cards resonated with you. But the major energy for those of you guys that picked this second pile is, you know, there just needing to be a shift. Something needs to change in order for you to come into a positive and more loving and romantic space, you know? Okay, for my third pile people that have picked the Rhodonite, what do you got here? Interesting. I think the singles got this card in this position too. Not this card, but so you've got to the sea for your overall energy, and you've got the lovers for how to bring the love in. I'm starting to find that my third pile people are my wild children. So for you guys in relationships, you've got to the sea here, and this is a card of, you know, it's kind of like what I was saying with the Fool in the last pile, but this is a card of, you know, just allowing the currents of life to take you to where you need to be. And this is also associated with water, which is emotions, feelings, love, things of that sort. So for those of you in relationships, this is the overall energy for you. And I really get this like very positive, flowy, like energy. I don't feel like your Valentine's Day is going to be very planned. I don't feel like this weekend, this holiday weekend, or like anything regarding showcasing your love for your partner showcasing their love for you. I don't think any of that is going to be planned. You know how people do it big for Valentine's Day? I think whatever you are in, you're going to have a very regular time, but whatever it is, it's going to bring you into these spaces to where you feel more connected with your partner. So you might find yourselves, you know, just ordering some takeout and then going to sit on the balcony and looking at the stars and having like a really deep conversation that brings you closer, you know, things of that sort. This card is also telling me, I do get a little bit of like this pull of like, for whoever is watching this video and pick this pile, that you are in something that is actually very positive, and it is okay to let your guard down completely. You do not have to necessarily keep your guard up or be paranoid or worry about what could happen in your situation, because you've been led to this situation, to the sea, you've been led to this situation, so you need to allow your heart to carry you as deep into it as you're supposed to go. I feel like some of you need confirmation that you've made the right decision with what you've decided to do with your love lives. And this card here, and I guess Spirit is saying, yeah, what you're in right now is definitely meant for you. You're completely and totally aligned with that. And instead of worrying and comparing it to your past situations or your past relationships, you need to give it a fair chance, and you need to allow yourself to really and truly and honestly experience the love that this partner or this situation has to offer. Okay, further confirming that, here you go, how to bring the love in. You've got the Lover's card. And so for all of the Valentine's Day piles and spreads, this is like the first card that I've been like, this is a Valentine's Day reading. You got the Lover's card. How do you bring the love in? Okay, like I said, it's not going to be very planned, but you need to really have your heart open during this time. Be open to conversation. Be open to learning new things about your partner, or doing or trying new experiences with your partner. Be open to seeing new things with your partner. Because right now, you're in a space of where you are growing with your partner. And this is general, but I feel like a lot of you that may have gravitated towards this pile may be in newer situations, or may be in a position to where the energy in your relationship has just been recently renewed. Like you may have just recently renewed your vows, or you may have just gotten married, or you may have just gotten engaged, you may have just gotten into a relationship, or you may have recently had a conversation that kind of reignited this fire within your relationship. So there's a lot of fresh rejuvenative energy, but there's also this little bit of, hesitation. And I do feel like it's based on your past experiences, whether it be with this person or other people. But I feel like whoever's watching this video, you're always worried about how things could end. I think it's important for you to just approach this situation with love and not even think about what the outcome could be, because that's not what you have here. You've got to the sea. Allow life's currents to carry you literally into love. Like, that's what's up. I hope all of you picked this pile. But yes, so really popping Valentine's Day for third pile people, I would say, at least. And it's not even going to be all that extravagant. For some of you it might, depending on, what you got in your charts and how you like to, show your love. But it's going to be very transformative in regards to love for you. Okay. So that is all that I have for y'all today. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Check out the Pisces Mercury retrograde video that I was talking about earlier. I also have Mercury retrograde readings for the signs going up along with that. We just had a Leo full moon, so I have that video up as well. And thank you guys for rocking with me. Thanks for sticking with me with my my little hiatus. I appreciate y'all. And I will catch y'all next time. Peace. Happy Valentine's Day.